Very cool.
Well, hello, retro game players. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Marcus. This is the first of the Retro Gaming Expo. I'd call it the calm before the storm. I'm currently driving to Portland. The Highlander here is loaded up. Tons of stuff. You can see the hats right there. Can't even see back here. I'll get some other shots. But I'm very excited. Can't wait. Basically going to probably roll into town and immediately go to the convention center, try and get my booth set up, and then I'm going to check out the arcade and kind of get that going. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this, and you got to keep that shit retro, if you know what I mean. But definitely, by the time you see this, hopefully you guys came to the booth and won a hat based on one of the 4 challenges. And anyway, yeah, hope it was awesome. So here we are, the famous 26 tunnel, Highway 26 tunnel, I should say, but this is always a pretty crazy spot because of the traffic here. It's always slow, so traffic's always backed up. And I've actually lived in Portland for about 15 years prior to moving this last year, so I'm pretty familiar with this. And here's the tunnel, which is pretty cool. Definitely, you know, it's kind of cool. There's like tiles and stuff, but when you come in here, you'll see it's basically right into downtown, and it's pretty cool. And there you go. There's Portland. It's definitely a cool city. It's just gotten real crowded. Extremely crowded. Technically, this is southwest Portland right here, and we are about to go on I-5 North, which looks a little backed up. To my left over there is I-5 South. But we are going north, and we're going to be getting off at the Convention Center exit. And this is kind of cool. This is the Markham Bridge. You can see a lot of development here on the right side down there. This is called the South Waterfront. All through here, actually. It's pretty cool. We already got the cranes up. They're still building buildings. There's also the tram somewhere over here to my right. I'm trying not to be stupid and crash into somebody. But we have a sky tram, which is kind of cool for Portland. There's some more shots of the waterfront. Here's downtown. It's actually across the Willamette River, so we're on the other side. Now we're technically on the east side of the river, actually. But that's where downtown is. All there. Portland has a ton of bridges. I think at least 7 downtown. I'm not sure. That's one reason why the city's named Bridgetown. But pretty cool. It's also known as the Rose City because of the rose gardens, and I don't know if it's just a good climate for roses, but it's kind of cool. You can see all the bridges. And then there's the east side over here, and you can actually see the convention center. So right there is the convention center. those two glass things. So that's where we're going. There's the convention center. You can see it's a lot closer now. I think the arcade just opened up. So the arcade opened at 3 o'clock. It's about 3:45. So it's pretty cool, actually. These glass pillar things are pretty awesome. See how full this thing is. Got the dolly on top here. Packed to the brim. DDR dance pads. Boxes filled to the back. There you go. That's right. Alright, now we're going to the convention center. And there's the convention center. Dead ahead. Although we were going to go all the way around and come back at the loading dock. Because I had to stop at the bank to get a bunch of change. My trip got a little bit messed up as far as my route. That's alright. That was the Max that just went by us, by the way. That's a light train, light rail. Pretty cool. Let's see if we see anybody. I already saw a couple kids walking around with badges. Guy doesn't care about the green light. Doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't give a fuck. Neither do these people. Pretty awesome. And right here's the main entrance. This is where you can get in. I think my hotel is somewhere around here too, which is pretty cool. But I'm gonna go up to this next street. Turn right. Not a lot going on yet. Oh, there's a Cannabis Cafe right over here. Pretty funny. Oregon's finest. Here's the street. Lloyd Boulevard. Ugh. Alright. And it's just right up here on the right. It's go time. This is also a good way to get in and park if you guys decide to come. Maybe next year, since by the time you see this. Alright, so here I am. This is actually about 2 weeks later from the actual expo. So I've got a bunch of things that I picked up. I will apologize straight off the bat. I didn't get very much footage of the actual expo floor or my booth. It was pure chaos. So there is some footage coming up of the arcade here in a minute, but when I first got there, you know, I brought all my gear in, and I mean, my table looked dwarf, you know. I mean, last year I had 3 tables and I filled it up, and it was really cool. I showed pictures of that in the last Retro Gaming Expo video that showed kind of what I was bringing, so if you haven't seen that, check that out. But I put all my gear on this one table instead of 3, and it was like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm gonna get all this stuff set up. So yeah, I got there, I think by the time I got everything in, it was like 4:30 or 4:45, something like that, you know, and that was cool. Load-in was great, really quick. But basically I got all my stuff going. I started setting up, and it took me till almost, I'd say almost 11 o'clock, maybe 10:45 by the time I was done setting up. So some of the things I did was I had these hats, as I previously mentioned. They were for sale for $5, and I wanted to put them on my banner, so I did that. I also gave away a bunch of hats by having people win them in challenges. So It was weird because the first day I only had 3 challenges and people were winning hats left and right. So the 3 challenges for Saturday was in Sonic 1, you had to get a Chaos Emerald. So I know it sounds easy, but that can be pretty challenging. I didn't care, you know, what level you did it on, but you had to get a Chaos Emerald. Challenge 2 was land the plane in Top Gun, which is pretty challenging, but honestly, if you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. And there's actually a video on this channel. You can see me do that if you want and maybe learn the tips. And then the third challenge was actually Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, and you had to warp to the black hole. And at first I thought, well, I could make it a little bit more challenging and actually say, get to the black hole and get to Venom, which is a separate thing. Once you get to the black hole, you can warp to the end of the game. And so for those of you who don't know, the black hole's pretty cool. You can get to it from the second level in Star Fox on the medium path. And anyway, I won't describe the whole process, but that was a challenge. On the second day, on Sunday, I decided to add a 4th challenge, which I wanted to do, but I just couldn't figure out what it was. Well, one of the items I think I mentioned in my last video was a Mac Plus, and I had loaded this Mac Plus up with 28 classic games, including Dark Castle, Radical Castle, Shuffle Putt Cafe, tons of other games that were just really cool. So I decided to do Shuffle Putt Cafe, which is where you use the mouse, and the mouse is kind of like your shuffle puck thing, and you have to hit, you know, whatever, I don't know, is it the puck? Whatever, you gotta hit the puck at the opponent's table and win. You had to win, I think it was 15 rounds, so it could be challenging, but believe it or not, Sunday people won a bunch of hats, and that's actually when I came up with the idea to take pictures and put them on Twitter and Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you would have seen those photos. There was one picture of a couple. You guys were awesome. I cannot believe it, but the guy won Shuffle Puck, okay, and that's, again, 15 rounds, and she landed the plane in Top Gun at the exact same time. So they both won hats at the exact same time. It was incredible. So after getting my booth set up, I finally was able to check out the arcade. My friend Chris came and hung out with me, and he was like playing games and stuff in the arcade, and I was kind of walking around, so I did some filming, and that's what this is. But it was pretty cool. It was a lot of pinball games and a lot of arcade games, all on free play, which is great. So we hung out there till it closed. But yeah, basically the next day it started, and it was chaos. It was chaos from the moment I walked in there. And chaos for me in the sense of like finishing, getting everything set up. I didn't even finish everything the night before. And actually I had forgot to bring power strips, which is really weird. And my friend Chris brought me some power strips, but I didn't hook those up till Saturday morning. So I was kind of freaking out a little bit. But I got everything going, and I had my MAME arcade system there. That was for sale. Truthfully, nobody even was interested. They played it. But last year, people were making offers, and it wasn't for sale. So it was really weird. Last year, I got all these offers on it. This year, no offers. So whatever. And then my Mario Kart Wii display, that thing's huge, did not sell. Nobody bought that. The DDR dance pads sold, which was awesome. Those are tournament edition. They're metal. They're crazy. They hold up to like 400 pounds. Anyway, those sold. That's cool. So at least, one big item sold, because my Highlander, my SUV, was packed. It literally could not get anything else in there. So as the day went on, though, sold a bunch of stuff. I wanted to get out and check out some of, the games on the floor, and I did get some chances because Ian was there. Ian's been on the channel a lot, and that was very helpful. Ian helped me out both Saturday and Sunday. So thanks again, man. I appreciate it. If you haven't seen his videos, he's in a bunch of Mario Maker games. And I think we played Sunset Riders and stuff. So anyway, so right off the bat, though, pretty early in the morning, I saw the Game Hunters. And the Game Hunters are really an awesome channel. If you haven't checked them out, go over there. Tell them what's up. Tell them Retro sent you. And basically, they came up, and I was kind of holding a copy of Final Fantasy for them, and they just presented this to me, which I was just in shock here. But it's perler art of Claptrap, and it's just so awesome to actually get something like this. I've never had perler art at all. So this is my first one.
And Borderlands, I actually did beat that game, and I actually beat the second game, and I really enjoyed the first one more. That's just me. The second one was, to me, just kind of more of the same and a little more intense, and that's cool, but I really like the first one. So this is awesome. I'm totally hanging this up in the game room, so thanks again, you guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I just gave them the Final Fantasy for Nintendo. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you made this? This is phenomenal. Here you go. So I hope you guys enjoy that game. And then they also went over, if you haven't seen their video, by the way, of the Retro Gaming Expo, please check that out, because it's like detailed. They're going up and down the aisles. I mean, it's really cool. They go through the video game museum, which is where John Hancock was working. And it was crazy because I wanted to get over there and get some exclusives for the show. Last year, I picked up the Retro Gaming Expo Atari game, played that on the channel. It's an awesome game. And so this year there were some more custom games that were made just for this expo. And John's had tons of old other homebrews that he does and has over the years. And so anyway, the Game Hunters went over there and got me both of these games, which John had something to do with. So this is Game Panic 2. This is the Sega Genesis version. Let's see if I can open it up. So inside there's a spider just because of Halloween, and kind of a EA style Mega Drive game, which is pretty cool. And there's a manual in there. So the immortal John Hancock is a cool dude. If you haven't seen his channel, check it out. The guy has an incredible collection. He also puts on an annual gaming expo in Cowlitz County, which I have signed up for and will have a booth at. And I'll be doing something actually to give away tickets, okay? So stay tuned to the channel. There will be some sort of a giveaway for tickets to that expo in Cowlitz County. This is the Sega CD or Mega CD version of the game, so pretty awesome. So the Game Hunters picked these up for me and brought them over to me, which was so cool because at that time Ian was not at my booth with me, so things were pretty hectic, you know? I could not really step away. But ironically, after I saw them, I'm sitting there and Ian starts calling me and he's gonna come down and hang out, right? And help me. And so it's probably, I'm guessing like 11 o'clock, I don't know, on Saturday, something like that. And anyway, he texts me or calls me and says, hey, I'm here. And I'm like, okay, dude, I will find some way to go meet you and get you your pass, your vendor pass. And so I find out where he is. He says he's at the entrance, which was pretty funny. And so I basically was at my booth, and I'm not even joking. This is totally true. Pete Dorr comes over to my booth, and he's looking at Master System games. And I'm like, oh my God. And I don't know why, because I normally want to ask somebody, but I just did. I was like, hey, man, would you watch my booth for one moment? I go, it could be a couple minutes, but please watch my booth just for a second while I go and meet my friend who I'm meeting. And I go, if you do, I will be so indebted to you, please. And he's like, oh, sure, man, no problem. So anyway, I run off. Pete Dorr is watching my booth. This is no joke. I meet Ian. Actually, I go to where the entrance is, and Ian's not there. So I call him up. I'm like, dude, where are you? And he's like, I'm at some weird Earth Festival or something that's at the convention center. So some other vegetable festival? I don't know what it was. Veg Fest? I think that's what it was. So he comes back running, and I'm waiting there thinking, oh my God, dude, Pete's at my booth. So anyway, Ian meets me up. We run back there, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I gave Pete $5 off of Penguin Land for the Master System. So anyway, thanks again, man. I do appreciate that. But that was just cool, just having someone watch my booth, and then also the Game Hunters grabbing the games from John Hancock. Now, I did get some more games from John later on. Actually, it was the following morning I went by there, and I was able to pick up some of his other cool things that are really unique and just kind of homebrew stuff. So, you know, this is a little bit different, but this is the nuts and bolts of video game collecting, which is like a DVD series. I think it's, 8 different DVDs. It's huge. I mean, if I open this, DVDs literally explode out of here. So that's really cool. This is one from the Cowlitz Gamers. This is an actual NES cart. So it's the Cowlitz Gamers Adventure. And it's actually a pretty cool, interesting game. I'm going to be playing that at some point. I just haven't opened it. But it's awesome that it's an actual NES cart. So that's one that I also got. And then this is a tour, which I'm not sure how John was involved in this, but it's basically there's like a map in here, and it's an Atari 2600 game that plays a lot like Zelda. So there's also, what is this? The manual, hints. I'm guessing it must be a pretty cool game because it has all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to check that out sometime. And then this is another one, the Catacombs of Chaos. This is another Atari 2600 cart. I like how in every single one of these there's some kind of weird like relic. Like this is like a scroll that unfolds, and it's like a manual kind of thing, or the story. It's really awesome to see that kind of stuff. And then this is the first Game Panic, and I think this is another Atari 2600 game. So this is Game Panic 1. And anyway, so cool to kind of get all these from John. He's definitely a really cool guy. Again, check out his channel if you haven't seen his stuff. So a couple other items I had there that were pretty interesting. One was a Transformers, I think it was the Sony PlayStation. It was a Sony PlayStation Transformer, and it was pretty big. It was definitely a really cool item. And I also had a Ninja Turtles complete series on DVD in the van, which is really a cool toy kind of thing too. But anyway, this guy came over, and he basically said, hey man, I've got a booth, and maybe we can work out a trade for the Transformer, PlayStation, and also the Ninja Turtle thing. And this guy, Danny, is awesome. So, hey man, if you are watching and you have a channel or anything, let me know. Put it in the description or in your comment, and I'll put it in the description. But Danny was a cool guy, and yeah, tons of cool stuff. But basically, I made a trade for both of those. And this is Vey on the Sega CD, which is a Working Designs kind of, I guess, published game. Is it published, right? Because they just kind of import it and then convert it to English, I think. I think that's mostly what Working Designs did. But anyway, pretty cool. I have never played this all the way through. I've played it a little bit, but I'll be real, I've never had the actual version. I've had a burned copy before. And I have played Lunar 1 and Lunar 2 on the Sega CD. In fact, that's the only system I've played those games on, and I loved them. Although I don't think this has anything to do with it, it's just pretty cool. So I'm really excited to play this, and it's in great condition too. And then also, I'm trying to complete an N64 collection, and I'm down to some games that, some of them are rare, but I've already got like Sculptor's Cut and some of the harder ones to get. But yeah, so this is, I also got these as part of that trade. So this is Xena, Warrior Princess, Twisted Edge, Snowboarding, Extreme Snowboarding, MRC Racing, which I actually remember renting this and playing this over the weekend, and I don't know why, but I actually like that game. Chameleon Twist 2, so that's a pretty cool game. And then Bust-A-Move 2, and then this one is Destruction Derby 64. And Destruction Derby 64, I have never played the N64 version. I'm excited to play it because I used to like the PC version, which came out, I guess, around the same time. And it was, if I remember right, it was one of the earlier 3D rendered sort of, something that would use like direct 3D or 3D effects on a PC. And anyway, it was just cool. You could crash into cars and have all these particle effects and everything. So pretty awesome. Now, as the day wore on, another thing that happened was I had this game sitting out. It's Herzog's Way, or Zui, and this is a crazy strategy game for Sega Genesis. If you've never played this, check it out. Another one that I really, really like is Dune on Sega Genesis. It's one of my favorite games, actually, and the soundtrack's phenomenal. It's kind of a precursor to Command & Conquer. This is not quite like that, but sort of similar, and it's just a really well done game. Well, I had this up, and it's just the manual. So what happened was there was a Craigslist lot where I bought a bunch of Sega Genesis games, and I saw this in there, and I thought, awesome. I never thought to ask, is this game in the box, which is so stupid, but it was like 20 Sega Genesis games. It was not very much money. It was like maybe $50 or something. And so I bought this lot off of Craigslist, got home, and this was the only game that was missing out of here. I already have this game though, so this was like, it was just like a bonus, So I decided to sell it, and I asked $15 for this, and it's the really good shape case, and also the manual. The manual's not in great shape, but anyway, it seemed like maybe it was going to sell. People were coming over, and offering like 10 bucks and stuff, and I just, you know, at some point I just was like, oh no, you know, I don't know, I just kind of like it. But what's weird is somebody came over to me, and I'm sorry if you're watching, I can't remember who it was, and they said that the artist is here. And I could not believe it, so I basically grabbed this and ran over, found the artist table, which is Mark Erickson, and he autographed this copy. So the original artist who did that crazy cover art autographed that, and he also autographed the manual. So it's weird because this went from being something that I was selling to now it's not for sale, and I'm going to hold on to it. So pretty cool. Now, later on that night was the auction, which was amazing. So after that day, I was exhausted. I went back to the hotel room and ended up coming back for the auction. I was pretty tired. And there was a lot of cool items. A lot of them are, I feel like, really go up in price very quickly. Some things didn't sell, but anyway, the one thing that I bought was a Mortal Kombat banner, which is announcing the game coming out on a bunch of different systems: Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Game Gear. So really cool. It's a double-sided kind of hanging up banner, and I just love it. Plus, you know, I just had released the Mortal Kombat song cover, the music cover that I put up on the channel that Friday. So it was really fitting, and it's just, I don't know, I love that kind of stuff, and I really don't think I got a bad deal on it because they rarely come up ever. So it was awesome. So anyway, the next day, it was chaos, had a bunch of winners, it was a blast, the whole thing was great. One other thing that I picked up is this really cool Portland Retro Gaming Expo kind of homebrew. I say homebrew, but that's not the right term, because it's actually English conversion of Police Knots for the Sega Saturn. And this is something that's kind of interesting. It's individually numbered, it's 8 out of 20. And the guy there was printing these too, so he was like making these custom discs, but they're really well done, and they look really great actually. So I was really impressed with this game. The guy's name was Kay, and anyway, really nice guy, and I'm excited to actually play this because I have this on, I think it's the PS1, except for it's a Japanese version, and you know, I don't know, I'm a huge fan of Snatcher. And this game actually does use the light gun, which I think on the Sega Saturn it says it's the Stunner. So I'm so pumped. I think I want to play this possibly on the channel, but really excited to check this game out. And like I said, it does say on here 2016 Portland Retro Gaming Expo limited edition. So essentially, most of the games I got were really just kind of local things that were limited to the expo, which I'm all about. And I didn't really have a chance to really do too much game hunting. So it was a blast. I really, really hope everyone who came out enjoyed themselves at the booth, playing the challenges. That was really cool to see people win. I will be doing something at some point with the hats and making them available for sale. So just stay tuned. I'll be releasing something about that. It's just at this point, I'm not sure when that'll be. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So until next time, you know what to do. You keep that shit retro by going and checking out your local retro gaming expos later on.